I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight it will be the stars and cars of the SimSpeedShop.com Premier Series, running their Mint Mortgage fall season for 2023. And tonight they will be taking on Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway. Brian Gerster actually holds the track record here officially in a winged 410 sprint car at 12 3/4 seconds. Find that video on Speed Vision, the old Speed Channel YouTube. Oh my God. The speeds these guys were doing in cars that would just be terrifying to see in the real world. But my name is Chris Graham. Should be joined in the booth here by Mr. Patrick Byrne very shortly. Looking forward to a really good night of racing as we are down to 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the practice session. A couple of weeks ago, it was Braden Carroll getting the win at Daytona. And he will bring a 7-point lead into tonight's racing action over Johnny Avila. Carroll, the big mover in the point standings after last week's race. He gained 6 positions to move up into the top spot. Johnny Avila, as we mentioned, 7 points back in the second position. Roger Rios, 11 back in third, 12 back to Quentin Clark in fourth, and Tyler Seville, 15 points back in the fifth position. Should be getting the word from race control shortly here on stage lengths and, well, more importantly, if and when we will get a caution here this evening. All right, we should be joined in the booth now by Mr. Patrick Byrne. Bizzle, what's going on, buddy? Hopefully you are having a good night here.
Absolutely. Well-fed and ready to go for this one.
Well-fed and ready to go. The well-fed part is important. Taking a look at the schedule here for tonight's race, Bizzle, we are going to go 250 laps, a basically half-length Cup race we're going to have here tonight. And quite frankly, that's going to make things a little bit interesting because even with the stages at laps 40 and lap 90, it's sort of irrelevant because you're talking about having to go 160 laps on a tank of fuel and a set of tires. That's a lot to ask of one of these race cars.
Yeah, not only the race cars, but the drivers too. This track is mentally draining. You have no time down the straightaways to kind of collect yourself and get back to it. You were full send pretty much the entire time. These guys are usually pretty good though, but it is Bristol. I am forecasting a couple cautions coming out, so hopefully that'll help the drivers clear their heads.
Yeah, that's something I think we're going to see, quite frankly, a fair bit of tonight. I mean, we're talking 160 lap final stint. It's going to be kind of ridiculous. Let's see here. We do have, well, it helps if I hit the button anyway. Stages will be at lap 40 and lap 90, and stage 1 will have the caution flag this evening. So basically that means you're going to get one guaranteed yellow at lap number 40, and that's about it. Let's pick up Justin Mraz, who is out on the racetrack right now.
At what, 15 seconds a lap? 14.9 seconds a lap? It's not going to take very long to get to 40 laps. Man, these guys are going even faster than I thought. 14.4s.
Yeah, Andrew Moore Jr. putting up a lightning quick lap here in qualifications at a 14.495. Quentin Clark second quick, about a quarter of a second back at 14.701. We'll pick up Hunter Waters in car number 7.
That just shows how much faster these Gen 7 cars are over the older Gen 4 cars. Last Friday, we were here, same place, Bristol Motor Speedway, with those Gen 4 cars. And I think once on the last restart, on a fresh set of tires, they were able to get to a 14.9. Which, very slow compared to these guys running 14.4s.
Yeah, Hunter Waters moving up into the 5th position with his qualification run. Let's pick up Richard Smith II in car number 23. Smith's first lap going to be good for 10th quick at a 15.101. Lap number 2, 15.127. The lap timer record for Richard Smith. He will be sitting in position number 10 here this evening. Troy Haight moving himself up into 2nd position as we see Garrett Johnston making his way down pit lane. The Clements Farms Breast Cancer Awareness number 15. Also on the racetrack is the number 11, the Chubbies entry of Tyler Seville. Lap number 1 for Tyler, going to clock in. Well, he's working lap number 1 right now. So that was the out lap that we were just seeing the end of. This will be lap number 1. They do get around this place in an absolute hurry. Lap 1 for Seville will time in 4th quick, 14.684 seconds, 14.68 with a 4 for Tyler Seville. Going to be 4th quick on the board and 19 hundredths of a second back. Lap number 2 for Seville will be just good enough to move up into the 3rd position, 14.576 seconds. Jeff Yenish in the Rayo's Homemade Sauces, number 89. Completing his qualification run, and I don't think he is going to get a lap on the scoreboard here. We'll take a look and see as he comes across the line this time. Yeah, Jeff Yenish does not have a lap score. That is a tough break for him. The wing stop, number 2 of Michael Larch at Ford Mustang. Working lap number 2 of his qualification run. Lap 1, 9th quick at a 14.780. Off of turn 4, lap number 2 up on the board for Larch, and it will be 4th quick. Good lap, 14.602, 14.60 with a 2 for Michael Larch. That'll be up into the 4th position. Waiting on Johnny Avila, Doug Visaki, and Adam Benefiel to get out onto the racetrack. Let's take a look at our weather conditions here tonight while we have a moment. 77 degree ambient temperature, 80 degree track temp under partly cloudy skies. Winds will be calm under fairly low humidity as well. So good conditions for these race cars tonight, Bizzle. And well, quite frankly, I would say that's one of those that will be, gosh, I'm going to say important, but not crazy at a place like Bristol. I mean, if it gets really hot or really cold, you can run into an issue. But kind of anywhere else in between, you should be kind of good to go.
It's not something I really have ever worried about Bristol, especially for these night races. You're not going to see the 1,000-degree track temps that you might see during the daytime at Phoenix. So This track kind of always feels the same. The only differences are between the daytime track and the nighttime track. And nighttime, this track gets a little bit wild, a lot more grip, and you're able to run 2-3 wide at times.
Yeah, I think that's where the race really turns interesting, is especially as we're going to see a variety of pitch strategies here this evening. It's almost like you're going to have to see, and quite frankly, we're going to have to keep track of who is where in their pit cycle, because, I mean, you could be talking 3 pit stops potentially for these guys.
If the cautions fall that way, but unless we see crazy tire fall off, I don't see this being anything but a one-stop race. Maybe a 2-stop if you choose to pit at that lap 40 stage break.
Well, coming out onto the racetrack with 3 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in qualifying is the Zeem Speed Shop, teamzss.com, number 63 Chevrolet Camaro of your, I guess he's second in points tonight. He's not the points leader, but trying to chase down Braden Carroll. It is Johnny Avila. Oh, buddy, almost scrapes that outside safer barrier through 3 and 4. Lap number 1 for Avila will be 12th quick at a 14.874. Almost 0.4 of a second back. See what lap number 2 looks like here, though, for Avila, as he is very quickly around to take the checkered flag. Lap number 2, only good enough for 10th quick, 14.760. Now, we say only good enough for 10th quick, but that's a 1/4 of a second back. The entire field is within 3/4 of a second right now. And quite frankly, I think that makes for really interesting racing here too, because the closer these cars are, it seems like the harder it's going to be to pass, and you're going to have to work hard for it.
Yeah, you're going to have to make contact to get by people. You're going to have to either run low if they're running high, run high if they're running low. You're going to be forced to do something different than the guy you're trying to get around.
Yeah, that's the big one. You have to do something different than what the leader's doing. Still waiting to see if we're going to see Doug Wysocki or Adam Benefiel out onto the racetrack here with 2 minutes remaining in the qualifying session. What really has been a very interesting season to this point here. Taking a look at the schedule, kicking things off at the Roval, Braden Carroll picking up a win there. Johnny Avila getting the win at Dover. You almost say Dover is an overgrown Bristol, or is Bristol on steroids. I would tend to think that's going to give Johnny Avila, at least from a comfort perspective, a little bit of an advantage here this evening.
See, the 2 tracks, they are both high bank tracks, both concrete. I have never found them to drive similar at all, though. I don't even think they race similar, because Dover is very much a one groove, run the bottom line, kind of jump into the banking kind of track, where Bristol, especially after they repaved it in 07, it's a 3 wide, multi-lane racetrack.
Yeah,
Bristol maybe was like Dover.
I was just about to say, when you had to do the bump and run and old Bristol, that was one thing. It is a completely different ball of wax, this new Bristol that we have. And by nature of this being a fixed setup league, it sort of gives the guys some options. You don't like how the car's handling? Pick a different lane. There's somewhere you can probably go to make the car work at least a little bit to your liking.
Yeah. This track in recent years here on the sim has become a very high line dominant track. The low line is not only slower, but it does save tires. It's the reverse of what you would normally expect out of a racetrack, where the low line is slower, but it saves tires. The high line burns the tires, but it's faster.
Well, we'll see how this all develops as we are down to the final 10 seconds of qualifications, and we are just about time to go racing here in Thunder Valley, Bristol Motor Speedway. A few weeks ago, Cletus McFarland was running, I think, 800,000 Crown Vics on this racetrack. Tonight, we're putting it back to the intended use here, and that'll be NASCAR Cup Series stock cars as qualifications are over and the field is starting to get set out onto the grid. And let's see here. We'll get ready and show you tonight's starting lineup. Starting on the pole for this one with a lap time of 14.496 seconds, the Weiss Markets number 77 Ford Mustang of Pennsylvania's Andrew Moore Jr. Lining up alongside will be the Woodfather, number 28. That Chevrolet Camaro belongs to Troy Haight. Row number 2 tonight will have Tyler Seville in the Chubbies, Hunter's Fried Pickles, number 11 Toyota Camry, lining up alongside of the Wingstop, number 2 Ford Mustang of Mike Larch. Row number 3 tonight will be the first of the Zeem Speed Shop entries. The team's ESS.com, number 24 Chevrolet belonging to Braden Carroll, lining up alongside of the number 42 Mach 5 design, Wolfelt on Spotify Chevrolet of Quentin Clark. Row 4 tonight, let's see. I'm going to refresh our graphics here because I believe the 15 is... I'm forgetting the sponsor on. Sorry, Garrett. We'll show you on the racetrack. How about that? The number 15 of Garrett Johnston lining up alongside of the JW Racing. Number 8 of Justin Rideout. Row number 5 will be the Hunter's Fried Pickles Law Chevrolet. Number 7 of Newburgh, Indiana's Hunter Waters. Lining up alongside of Toronto, Ontario, Canada's Johnny Avila. The multi-time series champ of the team's ESS.com. Number 63 Chevrolet. Row number 6 tonight, the Sim Coaches, number 45 of Andrew Mraz, alongside of the P1 Battery, number 19 of Tom Wilhite. Both of those Chevrolets lining up on row number 6. Row 7 tonight, Richard Smith, the second in the Canadian Sim Racers, number 23 Toyota, alongside of the Black Clover, number 83, belonging to John Moeller. Row number 8, Jeff Yanish in the Rayos Homemade, number 89 Ford Mustang, alongside of the 34 machine of Doug Wysocki. Final row of the grid tonight will be the Sun Energy number 9 of Adam Benefiel. Those last two cars on the grid not taking a time here in qualifications. We said we would pick them up here. Let's show Garrett Johnston in that number 15 machine as we are going to get ready to go green flag racing. Lights are out on the iRacing safety truck. Already a little bit of a blinking issue for Troy Haight. Fields off of turn number 4. What the heck, people? Go ahead at home. Y'all go ahead and crank it up. One lap very quickly in the books, and it will belong to Andrew Moore Jr. One down, 249 to go. Moore jumps out to the early lead. Quentin Clark, Braden Carroll doing battle here. Actually, this has Michael Larch just up ahead here as well. Good battle between Andrew Mraz and Garrett Johnston. And I'll tell you what, Bizzle, you talked about it a little bit in the open. You almost have to get yourself single filed out and start moving towards the top side of the racetrack. That's exactly what we're seeing here thus far.
Yeah, you just get single file, move yourself to the top, and if you want to make a move and pass, you kind of have to either force your way to the high side of someone, kind of bump them out of the corner, have them chase the car down low, or get underneath them and see if you can do a little bit of slide job and get in front.
Yeah, the slider is definitely something I think you could see a little bit of here tonight. Even if you were to say in the dirt world, kind of maybe the soft slider, you're not really throwing that big haymaker. It's more of just get inside and use just enough momentum to kind of force them off throttle a little bit. But taking a look here at Tyler Seville, that machine going backwards at this point. Seville back to position number 5. He's got Quentin Clark already clear on the outside. Now Andrew Mraz can have the look down the front straightaway. I have to think, though, this may be a little bit of a tire strategy here from Tyler Seville because he's not exactly putting up a ton of fight in this one either.
He's not even trying to stay up front there. Just kind of turning laps. He's not in any danger of going a lap down just yet, so he's still got plenty of time. He's just riding it out until the lap 40 caution.
Well, and that's something that you do kind of have to worry about because this place is tiny. And yes, you're trying to get to the back, but going a lap down and potentially being in a world of hurt, that is something that can happen really, really quickly.
Yeah, you just slip up once, and it's very easy to spin here and not bring out the caution. There's a lot of room there on the inside. You can get it spun back around the right way, and that caution flag won't be thrown. So you can't even afford to make a mistake and hope the field gets reset.
Well, we're seeing now Andrew Mraz going to work on teammate Quentin Clark. It really feels like Bristol now is a place where you have to almost try to set the pass up for 3, 4, maybe even 5 laps. And if it doesn't happen, you're back to square one. You can't just go right for the dive again. You have to go to work and try to get the pass made the long way again, as we see Braden Carroll trying here on Mike Larch.
Yeah, most contact there down the front straightaway. It's very difficult to hit that pass down on the bottom side anymore just because of how much faster that top lane is. You see all the room that Larch picks up down those straightaways.
Yeah, it's almost the case. I mean, we talk a little bit about momentum and how you have to keep the momentum up at the midpoint of the corner. You get off the top side of the racetrack and you just can't get back to the throttle super quick. You're giving up the momentum and you're giving up straight line speed at the end of the straightaway.
Yeah, it really matters to seal the deal here. There's not a lot of straightaway to make anything happen. It's not like you're at Michigan where you have 1.5 miles of straightaway down the back where you can drag race someone. It's kind of like just pull the trigger and you have to get in front of it.
Good battles here. Good battles really throughout the field. Troy Haight going to work on Tom Wilhite. This is going to be back for the 13th position. Also have a good fight here with it. Garrett Johnston looking inside of Andrew Mraz. That's the sponsor, the Clements Farms number 15. I told you we'd get you up there on camera, Garrett. Already working lap number 21. We're to the halfway point of stage 1 as the 45 of Mraz. A little bit of a kiss to the outside safer barrier. Anymore though, Bizzle, that feels like it's almost kind of Darlington Stripe-ish. You're going to scrape that wall.
Yeah, any track where you're running real up high, that outside wall, you're gonna hit it once or twice. Even the most perfect racing is gonna hit the wall every now and again when you're running millimeters from it. I think back there and said at one of the streets, running within millimeters and clipping the wall and over and over again. And one time he just hit it. It happens to the very best.
Yes, the onboard laps of Senna at Monaco are some of the greatest vintage racing footage you could possibly watch.
There we go, Braden Carroll just kissing that outside wall.
Sliding back a little bit here, Hunter Waters now looking inside of Andrew Mraz. Johnny Avila is going to be right there with him. Teammate Tyler Seville is just ahead up the road as well. You almost wonder, do some of these guys that are not Will Worsler racing guys look at Tyler Seville falling back and go, yep, that's my new strategy call. I'm heading to the back and I'm going to stay there and do whatever Tyler Seville does. Things definitely settling in ever so slightly, but moving up towards the sharp end of the field. Mike Larch trying to hold off Braden Carroll as both of those cars are up on the top side. They're doing a nice job of reeling in Andrew Moore Jr. as well. The gap was 0.7 of a second, gosh, just 5 or 6 laps ago. But now they're back down to within a half second. as Carroll's going to try that little soft slider. Not able to move up the racetrack, though. Larch holds on to second.
Yeah, Carroll ought to be getting frustrated. Maybe frustrating's not the right word. But getting a little bit impatient there. You see him making another aggressive move to the inside, trying to get that.
I almost think we saw a little bit, and I don't know how you would necessarily do it when they're already outside, but a little baby bump and run, like just a little bit of a kiss. I guess at the midpoint of the corner, you're trying to get him to turn down the hill and open that top lane up for you.
Staying put up there, holding his ground, and not feeling into the pressure just yet.
Carroll again.
Right there, almost into the wall.
Carroll again diving inside into turn number 3, almost making contact off of 4, and it's bringing Quentin Clark right back up into this battle, and it's opened the gap to Andrew Moore Jr. at the front of the field. What was a half-second gap is now 1.5 seconds as we've got yellow on the racetrack. That sounds like somebody hit something hard.
Well, I'm going to assume it's that backwards facing race car there we just saw in turn number 3.
Yeah, didn't have a look at who that was, but I think it may have been Adam Benefiel. Let's see if we can take a look and see where the issue may have been. Oh, big time help from the 45 of Andrew Mraz. My goodness. That was a big hit for the 9 machine. He ends up backwards against the outside safer barriers. So we'll go back to the live look and pick up your race leader. Couple of cars making their way down pit lane, and it will be Tyler Seville, Mike Larch, Justin Rideout, Johnny Avila, and Richard Smith II. I almost wonder a little bit here, Bizzle, because I don't know if we're going to go back to green flag racing before the end of the stage, but if you want to take a set of tires here, probably not a bad time to do it, because everybody else may come down pit lane. Now, Larch, Avila, and Seville, 15 and change seconds on the stops. Probably 4 tire changes for those guys. Richard Smith II, Justin Rideout, only on pit lane for about 6 seconds apiece. That could be just a fuel top off.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd be taking tires now. Unlike the real world here in iRacing, once you take those set of tires off the car, they get thrown in the incinerator. You can't touch them again. In the real world, you'd have a great set of scuffs, only 40 laps on them. If you ran out of tires towards the end of the race, these would be perfectly good tires to toss back on the race car for one last stint. But fortunately here on the sim, not an option. So I would save my tires, keep an extra set in the box.
Yeah, and at this point, I believe we are going to see the field get the 1 to go signal this time. They will start to split off. Well, let's see. See if the lights go out on the iRacing safety truck. Yeah, they have. It's lap number 39. And it looks like everybody has taken the outside lane. Unless they're going to say, and we'll check with race control on this, but if the stage were to end at the caution, yeah, here we go. We are going to get a one-lap shootout here, and Hunter Waters makes up a huge amount of ground. Same with Jeff Yenish. Tom Wilhite does the same thing.
I'm Hunter Waters. Yep, stick my head right there in third. Thank you very much. I will happily take third here for stage points.
I was just going to say, free stage points on offers. Field comes down to see the green and white checkered flag, and Andrew Moore Jr. will pick up the win here in stage number 1. Now, I have not seen caution yet. So, Bizzle, maybe if you can check with race control in the text chat. I guess that was the stage break. We're going to call it. Andrew Moore Jr. picking up the win in Northland Leisure, stage win number 1. As we are now working lap number 45 of 250. And Bizzle, if that was the call and they communicate that to the drivers over the race control radio, it does make a lot of sense. You got the caution flag organically. There's no point in throwing one after a one-lap kind of dash around Bristol. But the confusion there, that may have stirred things up a little bit here, because Hunter Waters having the look inside of Andrew Moore Jr., and he gets that pass made easy. Mike Larch now having a look inside of Quentin Clark in the 42. Larch able to get the pass completed on Moore. Now here comes Clark back down to the inside. Clark's going to get the pass completed as well. Andrew Moore Jr. starting to fall back here, and pretty significantly for that matter. Moore all the way back to the 4th position. The 5-lap average for Moore is about 0.6 of a second slower than new race leader Mike Larch.
I wonder if something happened to Moore's car, or if he was just looking to get those stage points, and now he's going to drop back for a bit and try and get the race win.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess if you start up front, there's no reason to really push things. Do what you have to do to keep the lead. Let the rest of the guys battle it out amongst them. Because now, especially if you didn't take tires, you're still looking at, you want to try to get to at least the end of stage 2 before you're going to take on a set.
Yeah, I'm waiting at least a lap under 10 before I'm hitting
Johnny Avila having the look inside of Moore into turn number 1. Avila a little bit on the charge here. Getting the comment in from Roger Rios saying tire saving for Moore more than likely. I see what you did there, brother. Yeah, I tend to agree with that, because if you only have 2 sets in the box, that means that you really have to try to make these things last. Tonight, though, the drivers have 4 sets of tires. It means they have 3 in the box available to them. Sort of changes things up a little bit from a strategy perspective, I would think.
That's a very good point. I'm still thinking they only have 2 in the box like usual. So if you have 3 in the box, and I don't think I'm worried about tires at all. Whenever they start to feel like they're coming off, set on.
Jeff Yenish having to look inside of Garrett Johnston for position number 9. Same kind of story. It's like you have to work at the pass for at least 2 or 3 sets of corners. That's what we saw that time out of Yenish, able to complete the pass in 2, 3, and 4. And we are already to lap number 60. So just 30 more laps until we get to the end of stage number 2. The big difference, though, this one will be green flag. Potentially, we may not have another yellow for the rest of this race.
Yeah, not unless these guys start racing really crazy. I mean, Johnny Avila is hunting down Mike Lark, so possibly an incident as they battle for the lead, especially if Avila gets the lead before the stage ends. He does have a habit of spinning right before the stage ends.
Jeff Yenish battling with Braden Carroll. Carroll's up around the top side of the racetrack, and we have caution on the speedway. Let's take a look here and see if we can see what happened here under yellow. May have been trouble for the 9 of Adam Benefiel. Well, car just got a little bit squirrely off the corner, slides it down and right back up the racetrack. Oh, and right in front of Johnny Avila. Nice save, though.
Didn't hit anything.
So, field is under caution for the second time here tonight at lap number 65. I don't think we would see any strategy calls here. I mean, we still have 186 laps to go, but I say that, and we've got the race leader on pit lane. Mike Larch is in. Hunter Waters, Quentin Clark, Andrew Moore, Braden Carroll, Jeff Yenish, Garrett Johnston, Richard Smith, Tom Wilhite, all on pit lane. Looks like only 4 lead lap cars electing to stay out on the racetrack. And now this time, Doug Wysocki coming down pit lane. So Johnny Avila, Tyler Seville, and Andrew Mraz, the cars at the front, electing to stay out on the racing surface as we work lap number 66. Andrew Mraz stopping lap number 37. Avila and Seville stopping at lap number 36 under the first caution flag of the night. I would guess if you were to take 250 and divide it by 4, you would get 75 laps. This kind of puts you in that window of you're going to have one stint that's going to be 10 laps longer, but it's really not that big of a deal. You could run 4 75-lap stints and just go absolutely hard out the entire time. Flip side of the coin, if you take the Avila strategy, you're going to maybe have a long stint, but 2 sets of good shoes in the box for late in the race.
Yeah, we get a late race yellow, especially a lot of cars a lap down, a lot of attrition if we get to that point. Johnny Avila could go in there and take that set of tires, maybe move himself back to the 5th or 6th position, and only have to pass 5 or 6 cars on a fresh set of tires while everyone else is out there with 75-lap old tires.
Yeah, I mean, we're 68 laps in. It'll be 69 when we take the green flag. I tend to think that maybe you're going to get that longer run. We've had 2 cautions, so we're averaging about 30 or so laps per green flag stint. As the green flag goes back in the air, Johnny Avila, Tyler Seville going to get a really nice jump down towards turn number 1. Wow, great battle back there for the 4th position between Mike Larch and Andrew Moore Jr. Top 3 getting away. Everybody else jammed up and jelly tight. Oh, Hunter Waters bounces it off the wall. Jeff Yenish is into the fence. I don't know how we kept everybody in a straight line, but we did.
Somehow.
That was ridiculous. Braden Carroll now going to work on Tyler Seville towards the front of the field. It would make sense for Seville to go backwards if he were on a tire-saving strategy. He's down on the inside, as is Andrew Moore Jr. Quentin Clark having to look up on the high side. Taking a look at our Hard Charger Award presented by Northland Leisure. Johnny Avila holds that mark up 9 from where he started this race. Quentin Clark looking inside of Mike Larch. He'll get that pass completed. Now going to work on teammate Andrew Mraz. Put Quentin Clark back up to position number 3.
He's on the hunt of Johnny Avila, right on the rear bumper now.
Trouble for Hunter Waters. Yeah, that car very slow at the bottom of the racetrack, as is Doug Wysocki. Take a look here and see what happened to Hunter Waters. Oh, he got some contact from Wysocki. Waters able to keep the car off the inside wall. Going back to the live look, tough break, Hunter Waters. That car may be done for the night. Or at least an extended duration stay on pit road up ahead. As Quentin Clark gets around Johnny Avila. Now Richard Smith II thinking about taking the move on the 63. I tell you what, Bizzle, that point you made about not having a ton of cars left on the lead lap at the end of this race, that may become very present here because we're down to only 11 cars on the same lap as the race leader as we are inside of 10 to go in stage number 2. And if we stay green for a long time, your race leaders are going to start picking off cars at the back of the field pretty quickly.
Yeah, we saw it last week on Friday in the OEM series here at Bristol. But the winner of that one had the entire field a full lap down. It was only when they got a late race caution that it brought someone else back up to the lead lap just by getting the lucky dog. I'm not saying that's going to happen tonight. There's a much tighter spread of skill here in the Sim Racers Club, but it's still very possible. Braden Carroll is already a second and a half in front of Quentin Clark.
Yeah, and when you start looking at...
go 14 seconds in front to lap everyone.
Well, that's exactly right. And you look at the 15-lap averages. Andrew Mraz, who currently sits in 11th, Tom Wilhite in 10th. Those cars are about 4 to 5 tenths per lap slower than the race leader. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it only is going to take you, 30 laps or so, and you could be a lap down. Picking up the fight here with Johnny Avila, Tyler Seville, Andrew Moore Jr. It's a good battle. Back one spot here between Seville and Waters. Two of the cars that have shown a lot of outright speed here tonight. Andrew Moore leading a race high, 46 laps at the start of this thing. Now as we work lap number 90 will be the end of stage number 2. Off of turn 4, little kiss to the outside, safer barrier. Green and white checkered flag goes in the air for Braden Carroll, your Northland Leisure stage winner here in stage number 2 tonight at Bristol. Those 10 points will go towards padding his championship lead, which was only 7 points entering tonight's race. Now Johnny Avila battling with Mike Larch. Avila able to gap Andrew Moore by a couple of car lengths. That 63 machine looks pretty good down on the inside of the racetrack. It's going to be fun to talk to these guys, either under caution or in the post race, about how difficult these cars were to drive under these conditions. Oh, as Larch gets involved, Moore's involved. Big trouble off the corner. Turn number 2, yellow flag is out. Drivers meeting back straightaway.
Can't park there.
Take a look at this one. We're going to look at this one from the overhead. See what happened to the 45 of Andrew Mraz. Teammate Quentin Clark. Mraz just slides up the racetrack. Huge contact there for those two. And Mike Larch has absolutely nowhere to go. Tyler Seville got a big piece. Moore got a piece. As did Garrett Johnston. My goodness. As we'll go back to the live look and await any word on penalties from race control. But we are going to see a lot of race cars on pit lane now this time. Richard Smith II will stay out, as will Jeff Yenish. That almost looked like something broke on the 45, I believe it was. Let's take a look at this one again. See if we can see what happened to the 45 machine, because it just kind of went straight up the hill, almost like there was a controller failure. Some sort of a mechanical issue.
Possibly not mechanical. Possibly a cat coming by and unplugging wires. I now have a cat that just unplugs everything.
Yeah.
Could be that. Or everything's on a USB hub and something walked over and hit the power button on the hub, or something fell on it. A lot of stuff can happen that don't think about.
Yeah, just weirdness, quite frankly, but we will await word from race control on any penalties there. But we should now get the one to go signal this next time by. And Bizzle, I'll tell you what, it feels like about every 30 laps or so, we're going to get a caution. That really plays into your strategy now as a driver of when do you want to use your tires, because if you're just going to heat cycle them every 30 laps or so, that's kind of manageable.
Yeah, it becomes very, very consistently difficult to drive.
Yes, as a race car should be. So now we'll see the field get doubled up. It's going to be Richard Smith II and Jeff Yenish on the front row, followed by Johnny Avila and Braden Carroll. Tyler Seville, Tom Wilhite on row number 3 as the pace car is in. Field gets to the restart zone. Green flags out. We're back underway here at Bristol. Nice start for Smith. He's going to hold the lead into turn 1, but he may not hold it for long. Here comes Johnny Avila looking down to the inside of the racetrack. Avila not quite able to get the job done just yet, though. Smith does a nice job holding on to the outside. That 63 machine able to power back to the front of the field, and Johnny Avila will pick up his 13th lap lead of the evening. Got to thank all the sponsors coming on board for the SimSpeedShop.com Mint Mortgage fall season here in 2023. Real Assist joining the roster of sponsors. Actually, that was last season they came on board. Realty Executive Saskatoon are the sponsors of the Most Laps Led Hard Charger and Most Positions Lost prizes. Northland Leisure, as we mentioned, picking up the sponsorship of the stages. Custom Paints and Diecast putting up seasonal and grand championship prizes. And Sim Speed Shop. Sim Speed Shop putting up series entitlement sponsor, seasonal champions, safe driver drawings, grand championship prizes as well. Thank you very much to all of our sponsors that have come on board with the Sim Racers Club here in 2023. Richard Smith now battling Andrew Moore Jr. for position number 3. You talked about it a little bit in the intro, Bizzle, that we can see 2 and 3 wide racing, and right now we're not seeing as many cars way up on the high side of the racetrack. A lot of cars moving down to the inside and running that kind of middle groove as well.
Yeah, running down at the inside is going to save the tires in the front, and the cars are going to snap loose or push tight. Gives you a lot of room to get outside of all the catch because you see cars moving down on the racing surface.
Johnny Avila, Andrew Moore Jr. in a fantastic battle for the second position, but man alive, this fight is good as well. Let's take a look. Go on board here with Mike Larch. You see Larch starting to get caught up to your race leaders just ahead here. Swing the camera around, though. He's still got the big fight coming up from behind as well here from Richard Smith II and Quentin Clark. This Wingstop number 2 machine does look pretty darn sporty here tonight, though, Bizzle. And quite frankly, you can hear him. Not a ton of off-throttle time for this car either.
No, you were on the throttle for a large part of Bristol. These cars are going nearly 150 miles an hour entering the turn, 140, 150, which is blazing fast for a half-mile racing circuit like this. Dover is twice the size and then only doing, 30 miles an hour faster in Dover?
Yeah, something like that. The numbers are, quite frankly, pretty spectacular here. We're going to slide back and pick up the Hornets' nest that is the middle of the pack here, led by Tyler Seville, back to 10th place, Tom Wilhite. Jeff Yenish looking inside of Quentin Clark's 42. Oh, big contact. Richard Smith got a huge shove in the middle of the corner from Quentin Clark. Slides both up the racetrack. They're able to keep things in a straight line. Oh, my goodness. Let's take a look at this one on the NRN replay. That was a huge moment. Dale Earnhardt didn't hit Terry Labonte that hard. Now, as we go back to the live look, you have Quentin Clark looking inside of Garrett Johnson. That is not a battle for position. Johnson, the first car, 1 lap down in the 11th position. And right now, this is the best battle on the racetrack. Sitting at a little bit less than 0.2 of a second between Braden Carroll and Michael Arch. Next time by, race leader Andrew Moore Jr. will see the cross flags. We will be halfway home here at Bristol Motor Speedway. 125 down, 125 laps to go. And quite frankly, this race has been really interesting to watch. You can see the drivers that are starting to run into handling problems on their tires. You can see who's made pit stops recently and has maybe a little bit sportier car underneath them. It's fun to watch the guys that are kind of going back to front, and conversely, the cars that you're seeing go from front to back.
Yeah, and sometimes going from front to back is a strategy call, not necessarily because you're not very good. There's a lot of very good drivers way back there. There's Will Hyde, Quentin Clark, Justin Rideout. Those are some of your tailing cars on the lead lap, and those are also some of the guys that are regularly up front in the series.
Well, now, especially with the amount of caution that we've had, I would tend to think these drivers are going to start thinking at least a little bit about when they're going to make their final pit stop. I would think 120 laps or so should be doable on a tank of fuel. So at this point, you got to be getting close to that window opening. And if we get a caution, do we see these guys make a one final pit stop?
Fuel, probably. I know they can go 160 laps, but the car's going to get very, very odd. I don't want to say difficult, but very odd to drive in that low. I have a feeling you're just going to want to put Sterling for that position. And while you're in there, you're going to probably want to take at least right sides, if not all 4 tires.
Just getting word here from race control, penalty being issued. And that one will be issued to car number 45. Basically parking that car for the night. He will finish in the 14th position. It's not, I guess, technically a DQ. Because that would put you to the end of the field. But your night is over, put it on the trailer penalty to Andrew Mraz for the second incident of contact. slide back a little bit here. Pick up Tom Wilhite and Quentin Clark. This now the closest fight for position, but Braden Carroll is closing quickly on our race leader. This is now the closest fight for position, and it is the fight for the lead. Taking a look at our two cars at the front of the field here. Andrew Moore Jr. and Mike Larch. These guys battling for the third position. The number that you see on your screen is when they last made a pit stop. Pick up now Johnny Avila and Andrew Moore Jr. Same story here, but that's 63 of Avila. Looking pretty sporty right now. It's our race leader coming around the number 8 of Justin Rideout. So we're now down to 8 cars remaining on the lead lap as we are working lap number 146. Slide back here and pick up the battle between Quentin Clark and Tom Wilhite. These guys fighting for the 7th position. Thus far, even with the incidents that we've had, only 4 cars listed as out of the race. That'll be Andrew Mraz, Hunter Waters, Adam Benefiel, and Troy Haight. Haight, unfortunately, going out very early in this race. Connection issues, putting the number 28 on the trailer as well. Wilhite looking inside at Quentin Clark. They're going to have to contend with a lap car, John Moeller. Nice job by Wilhite, able to use that lap car as a little bit of a pick. Quentin Clark going to have the dive back to the inside. Nothing going there. And a little bit further forward here now, Tyler Seville coming around the 2 of Mike Larch. Take a look at that one on the NRN replay.
That number 8 is beat up.
Yeah, Mike Larch has definitely seen a bit of contact this evening, taking a big hit in that incident with the 45 and 42. He just had absolutely nowhere to go. Things starting to close up here at the front of the field. Johnny Avila has cut the gap down to 0.3 of a second. And once again, this is the closest fight we have right now. And it is the battle for the race lead as we are inside of 100 laps to go. Braden Carroll's led 36 markers thus far tonight. Johnny Avila holding 21. Andrew Moore Jr. with a race high 74 laps led to this point. Mike Larch also has 16 laps led as well. John Moeller
running about 2 times up there.
Scarily close. The 5-lap average for Johnny Avila is less than half a tenth quicker than Braden Carroll. You go out to the 10 and the 15 lap averages, Avila is significantly quicker. But over these last 5 laps or so, it's really been pretty tight. But that's also a function of you get to the leader and you kind of run out of space to go faster than they are. You have to work on cleaning a clean pass as opposed to just trying to chase somebody down. .42 of Quentin Clark up into the outside wall, and now down to 91 to go. In Bizzle, we've got 7 cars left on the lead lap. Tom Wilhite in 7th is only about a second and change up the racetrack as Avila almost gets into the 24 of Braden Carroll.
Yeah, he's really trying to get by him now, and this lap traffic of Wilhite is going to make a big issue for at least Braden Carroll. Maybe make it a little easier or harder for John to get by in that top spot.
Taking a look out the front of Johnny Avila's number 63 machine. Really driving that car deep off into the corner, significantly deeper than what we're seeing Braden Carroll do. Oh, great crossover move by Avila off the corner. I don't know that he's going to be able to do anything with it, though.
Yeah, just looses it down the straightaway. A little bit of a tank slapper there, almost getting the right rear up into the wall. Carroll with a little bit of a wiggle there.
Knocking on wood here, but this is by far the longest green flag stint we've had tonight. Still have 13 of the 17 starters on the racetrack. Couple of Zeem Speed Shop cars trying to hold on to the lead here at Bristol. Man, Justin Rideout way wide that time, almost straight on into the safer barrier. And this is the closest battle. The next closest one we have is Andrew Moore Jr. and Tyler Seville, separated by 1.5 seconds.
Man, almost contact between the leaders as they come out of turn number 2.
Couple of Zeem Speed Shop guys, I would imagine spending a lot of time in that Discord server. You get to know each other when you're running the same car and you're running the kind of Road to Pro events that these guys do. Johnny Avila, the more, well, I don't even know that I can say more experienced of the two, but the higher I-rated driver of the two at a 63.97 to Braden Carroll's 38.22, but I-rating doesn't necessarily mean things in a league race.
I would confidently say Johnny Avila is a little more talented. Braden Carroll, 18, 2 or 3 months ago, still a very, very young driver here on the iRacing platform. And I guess due to life and being an adult as well.
And we're seeing a little bit of a maturing process out of Braden Carroll. We talked about this with Kevin Dix several seasons ago. He showed a lot of raw pace, but he wasn't quite there to make a championship run at things. Now we're seeing Braden Carroll mature, and he's finishing more races than he has in the past. And he's finishing, because when he finishes, he's up front. It's just a matter of could he get to the end of the race. Now we're seeing Braden Carroll get to the end of these races, and that's what has him up towards the front of the championship.
Yeah, not only is he finishing the races, but he's finishing up towards the front. He fought with Johnny Avila a little bit, but once they started to get a little bit handsy, he backs right off. He's sitting there in second and kind of just waiting for something to happen. Almost getting into the 15, though, as they exit turn number 2.
Yeah, now they've come around Tom Wilhite, so we are down to 6 cars remaining on the lead lap with 75 laps to go. Hunter Waters checking in the comments here, giving some love to car 63, one of the Will Worsler Racing teammates. Now, these guys only have 80 laps on this set of tires. I don't think they can go the rest. Well, maybe they could go the rest of the way. That would only be 150 or so laps. You're just going to get to a point where your race car is absolutely evil handling, though.
Yeah, especially at Bristol. This track will either make the car snappy loose, where it kind of wants to snap around, and it'll smack the outside of the wall with the nose, or the back end, it'll smack the inside of the wall with either nose. So yeah, it's a pain in the neck. Or it can become so tight that you feel like you're going 10 miles an hour in the turn, and everyone's just flying right by you.
Well, Tyler Seville starting to catch up on Andrew Moore Jr. as they come up on the lap car of Garrett Johnston. This battle has closed in. There are no other battles that have gotten close here as Seville looks inside of Moore. Doesn't quite have him at the line. It was half a car length that time by. Oh, Moore with a little scrape of the safer barrier, and that was all Tyler Seville needed to get that pass completed. Pretty good schedule coming up here for these guys from the Sim Racers Club. 5 more races before we hit the next off week, and that will be for the Thanksgiving holiday. After tonight's race, we head off to Kansas Speedway for a 117-lap event. Following it up with the Darlington 177 presented by Will Worsler Racing on October 25th. The Don't Mess with Texas 175 kicks off the month of November. Then Talladega and Las Vegas before we get to the Thanksgiving holiday. Closing out the season with Homestead, Martinsville, and Phoenix to round this season out by the middle of December. Tyler Seville starting to make some ground here on Braden Carroll. And we are starting to see some cars come down pit lane. Doug Visacki on pit lane, Garrett Johnston, Justin Rideout. Little bit of deciding, I've had enough of this evil race car. Picking up race leader Johnny Avila, just lapping the 89 of Jeff Yenish. We are down to 5 cars remaining on the lead lap. And just up ahead of Avila is the number 2 of Mike Larch. There you just saw him come through the frame.
Could we see only the podium on the lead lap? Well, Andrew Moore Jr. is only 5 seconds back from Johnny Avila. So Johnny Avila has to basically triple the gap to Andrew Moore if he wants to lap.
Yeah, and this is where the pitch strategy for the race leaders kind of opens up a little bit, because even if you end up a lap down, you're going to be able to cycle through under the caution flag pit stops. But you're going to lose more than 1 lap if you come in under green. That's what makes it trouble for Johnny Avila, is everybody else can kind of say, hey, we're going to take a shot and try to short stint this thing. Johnny Avila kind of has to wait this out and run until he absolutely has to pit. We'll pick up Tyler Seville trying to get around Jeff Yenish, the, I guess, pseudo teammate. Jeff usually hanging out in the Will Worsler Racing Discord with these guys, but This is the closest fight. You barely see Braden Carroll in the frame. That gap's sitting at 0.6 of a second, 0.7 of a second, we'll call it now. And again, we are seconds between everybody else on the racetrack right here. Not much going on in terms of battles for position. I would think, yeah, I was just going to say, Hunter Waters, you're taking the words out of my mouth here in the comments. I bet leaders don't pit if it stays green. That brings up an entirely different ball of wax here. But basically, you've got what you've got at this point.
Yeah, I don't think you'd be pitting either. If the caution comes out, like I said, if the caution comes out earlier, or like I said earlier, if the caution were to come out, Johnny Avila, what's he got to lose? He's going to restart in fourth if he pits. If he doesn't pit, he'll restart in the lead. So I throw new tires in the car. I'll lose 3 spots and get new set of tires.
Yeah, I guess the only...
Green, I didn't see it.
No, you're just going to give up too much. And actually, you would fall back to about the 6th or 7th position because you're going to lose 2 laps to a green flag pit stop. That puts you back in the territory of Quentin Clark in 8th or so as Tyler Seville makes the big dive inside of Braden Carroll. And now with 49 to go, the chase is on. The guy who's known for saving tires is going to be on the hunt for the race leader. But take a look at Justin Rideout flying around the outside. He stopped not too many laps ago, 12 laps ago. New tires are definitely worth it. It's just if nobody else pits, you're kind of hung out to dry.
Yeah, and then you're kind of screwed. I mean, a guy like Andrew Moore Jr. sit back there in the fourth. Those top 3 do come into the pits, and he's able to just pass him and put him a lap down. Well, not only do they have to pass him once, they got to pass him twice.
Right. Now, Justin Rideout's lap averages, his 5-lap average is a full second faster than Johnny Avila. Actually, the 10-lap average is a full second faster per lap. You can make up a lot of time. I just don't know that you can make up that much time here with only 45 to go. And having cars come around you that are laps down but on newer tires, that doesn't help things either because it's kind of a mind trick that they're playing on you. You feel like I should be faster than this guy when you have to mentally just go, no, he's got new tires and I don't.
Yeah, you kind of just got to let him by because the guy on new tires is going to get impatient pretty quickly. That new rubber only stays new for so long, so it won't be too long before he comes out of the way.
Picking up the battle for 5th. It's a lap down, but it is a battle for position. Mike Larch and Jeff Yenish. Jeff Yenish with 143 laps on this set of tires. I would think Yenish is going to have to stop soon. Now, in terms of cars that would get a lucky dog, or at least be able to get back on the lead lap if they don't stop, that would be Larch, Yenish, and Wilhite. They would all be 1 lap down. If we get a caution and the leaders come down pit road, they would obviously stay out. But you're still talking only about 7 cars being on the lead lap.
And that they're only on the lead lap if they don't come into the pits.
Correct.
Which means if there's 35 laps left when they go back to green, they're going to go a lap down anyway because those top 4 are going to be on brand new fresh tires.
Following along here with race leader Johnny Avila. He is going to have to lead another 7 or so laps, 8 laps, in order to be able to take the most laps led award away from Andrew Moore Jr. Taking a look at the Hard Charger Award, and Johnny Avila is your Hard Charger tonight, gaining 9 positions. Jeff Yenish has also gained 9, but Johnny Avila gets the award based on the higher finishing position, at least as it stands right now. The driver losing the most positions tonight, unfortunately, Troy Haight, going out very early in this race. Started on the outside of the front row, and he will fall 15 spots to finish in 17th.
Could be 16 spots.
He started second, finishing 17th. 17 minus 2 is... Oh, buddy, caution is out. Yellow is on the speedway. Saved by the bell there, Bizzle. Pick up the NRN replay. See what happened to John Moeller. Oh, wow, big hit. 2 huge hits to John Moeller's car.
We're driving a modified out there now.
I was going to say, that will lead the Whelen Modified Tour this evening. But that puts us under caution, and you know what? I don't know about that, because Tyler Seville was not making up a ton of ground. Hunter Waters checking in saying not what the 11 needed. He wasn't making up ground that quickly. Now we'll see. I would think you're going to see all of your race leaders come down pit lane here.
But there's no reason not to. What do you lose?
Mike Larch takes the lucky dog. He will come around to get back on the lead lap, as Johnny Avila leads Tyler Seville, Braden Carroll, and Andrew Moore Jr. down on the pit lane. Bristol unique pit lane too, in that you have to be careful not to pass somebody as you drive through turns 3 and 4.
Not only that, but under caution, it's one ginormous pit lane. But under green flag conditions, if you're pitted there on the front stretch like Johnny Avila is, you come in off turn 4, hit your box, and leave out of turn number 1. If you're pitted on the back stretch, come in off of turn number 2 and leave out of turn number 3. You don't have to go through both pit lanes.
Oh, and I think Tyler Seville beat Johnny Avila off pit lane.
He very clearly did.
Oh, buddy, this is going to be interesting, because Mike Larch got the lucky dog and stayed out on the racetrack. So Mike Larch, let's see. Nope, Mike Larch coming down pit lane now this time. So Tyler Seville will be your race leader. Johnny Avila will line up in the 2nd position. Braden Carroll 3rd. Maybe this is exactly what the 11 needed. The difference was entirely in the pit stop. 14.7 seconds for Tyler Seville, 15.4 for Johnny Avila. Worked out to a 9/10 of a second difference in time spent on pit lane. And that was all Tyler Seville needed to get the race lead here, with now 27 laps to go, this time by the start-finish line. Wave around cars will do their thing. Tyler Seville elects to take the inside lane. This will be interesting. Johnny Avila takes the outside, as does Braden Carroll. Andrew Moore Jr. does as well. So the lapped car of Justin Rideout will line up inside of row 2. And everybody else just about is on the outside lane.
Yeah, not sure why Tyler Seville picked that low line down there. I would think you'd want to start on the high side.
Well, unless you think you can get the jump and just clear them into turn one, then you're not trapping a teammate having to race somebody, so to speak.
That is true. They might have a gentleman's agreement where Avila is going to lay back a little bit and let Seville take that top spot.
Man, I don't know the gentlemen's agreements are going to come into play here, though, with 25 laps to go when we come down for the restart. They'll hit the Mint Mortgage restart zone. Troy Haight is your race leader. Good start. Nah, man, does not get up on the top side of the racetrack, though. He holds it down low, able to hold off Johnny Avila. And now this is a three-car fight for the win as Andrew Moore Jr. immediately falls a second back of the race leader. Tom Wilhite took the wave around. He is also back on the lead lap, so we have 6 cars with a shot at winning this thing with 24 to go.
Avila seems to be more comfortable on that bottom side. We saw it before when he was battling with Braden Carroll, where he couldn't get to that top side. But the bottom side does seem to be working for him. That's a new quick time for Johnny Avila at a 14.644.
Seville goes around. Hard into the inside wall. Tyler Seville loses the front end of that machine.
And no caution.
We stay under green. Tyler Seville's going to head to pit lane. It's still going to be a 2-car fight, though. Johnny Avila trying to hold off Braden Carroll. Take a look at this one on the NRN replay. Off the corner, Tyler Seville he bobbled a little bit off of 2. The big one comes off at turn 4, though. Absolute junk for Tyler Seville's number 11 Chubby's Toyota Camry. Tough break there, and Braden Carroll has just set a new fastest lap of the race. 14.585. He's running qualifying laps out here with 17 to go.
Yeah, Braden Carroll is really trying to chase down Johnny Avila now. Only 17 laps to go. Not a whole ton of time for him to get something done. Not only do you have to catch Avila, you got to find a way around him, too.
The two guys battling for the championship are battling at the front of the field. It was a 7-point difference entering the night. Braden Carroll picking up a stage win. Well, like you said, Bizzle, getting to Johnny Avila is one thing. You got to try to get past him, too. And that is not going to be an easy thing to do without potentially having to use the bumper.
Between these two, I think the bumper is absolutely an option. Both of them are talented enough to not only not just ruin your race by hitting you with the bumper, but able to keep the car under them if they do get hit.
Yeah, you don't have to wreck him. You just have to rattle his cage a little bit.
Okay, now.
Braden Carroll may have used up the good on those tires, though, trying to chase down Johnny Avila, because the 15-lap average goes to Braden Carroll. The 5-lap average goes to Johnny Avila by about 1/10.5. Even if you got the tires hot, you still have to try to cool them down a little bit. I just don't know that that's going to happen because we're down to 10 to go.
Yeah, Johnny Avila is now starting to run away from Braden Carroll a little bit. Gap now up to half a second.
Jeff Yenish back to being 1 lap down as well. So only 4 cars remain on the lead lap. Johnny Avila, Braden Carroll, Andrew Moore Jr., and Mike Larch. The gap's about the same from first to second as it is to second to third. Mike Larch is starting to close in, though, on Andrew Moore Jr. as Moore held up a little bit by the lap car, the 23 of Richard Smith II. This is where you got to be careful if you're Moore, because if you get into Smith and he wrecks, you're getting an EOL penalty plus the racecraft penalty points that go with it.
Yeah, right now nobody has any penalties. It's a clean slate. You don't want to be that guy that now has to start the next race from the back of the pack. At this point, if you're either of these two guys, battle with each other, keep it clean, and don't let a good finish tonight get thrown out the window.
Yeah, Moore able to get clear of Mike Larch. Oh, but the caution's out. Yellow flag is out on the speedway, and it may be trouble for Tyler Seville. Not seeing anything just yet. So we'll go back to the live look here, but oh my goodness, now it's an entirely new ball game. Jeff Yenish will get his lap back. And now you're going to have Braden Carroll, Andrew Moore Jr., and Mike Larch all with a chance to get after race leader Johnny Avila as we head to overtime. Now, I'm trying to remember, do they filter the lap cars to the back of the lead lap cars?
I believe they do.
Because that number 8 of Justin Rideout is not on the lead lap, and he is separating our top two, basically, from positions 3 and 4. Jeff Yedish electing to come down pit lane, as does Tom Wilhite, Quentin Clark, Garrett Johnston, and Tyler Seville on pit lane. So we're going to rack them up here for overtime, and now, if you're Johnny Avila, I would think you would want to start on the inside.
That's where he's been most comfortable. It's been working for him. I don't think I'd want to change it up.
Yeah, the question becomes, where does Braden Carroll go? If Avila picks the inside, the obvious call is the outside. If Avila takes the outside for the restart, where do you go if you're Braden Carroll?
To the outside?
Well, there you go. Up on the outside. So race leader Johnny Avila, the only car to elect to restart on the inside lane of the lead lap cars. Carroll, Moore, and Larch all electing to restart on the outside. Not sure that I understand that call from Mike Larch, because now you're going to put lap cars between you and the front of the field.
Unless that's where you're comfortable and you're going to, I don't want to say admit defeat, but kind of just, okay, no matter what, I'm finishing in the top 5 here as long as I don't wreck.
Yeah, basically don't do anything dumb and you're going to get a top 5 out of it. But they'll head to the Mint Mortgage restart zone. Johnny Avila gets a great restart. Green, white, checkered, overtime finish. And Avila quickly jumps out to a half-second lead. Through turns 3 and 4, white flag goes in the air, 1 lap to go, and it is all Johnny Avila right now. The Zeem Speed Shop, TeamZSS.com. Chevrolet has been spectacular tonight. Off at turn number 4, checkered flag in the air, and Johnny Avila gets the win at Bristol. Braden Carroll holds on for second over Andrew Moore Jr., and Mike Larch will be the last car. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We have a couple more. Jeff Yenish and Tom Wilhite will be the last cars to finish on the lead lap.
Fantastic job of burning the house down.
And let's take a look here at your overtime finishing race results. Johnny Avila gets the win by just under half a second over Braden Carroll. Good fight to the line between Carroll and Moore. Mike Larch and Jeff Yenish complete your top 5. 6 through 10 tonight going to be Tom Wilhite, Quentin Clark, Garrett Johnston, Justin Rideout, and Tyler Seville. Seville finishing 7 laps behind the race leader. Second page of the leaderboard will be Richard Smith II, Doug Wysocki, John Moeller, Hunter Waters, Andrew Mraz, Adam Benefiel, and Troy Haight. Most of those cars having pretty significant issues fairly early in this race. So now getting ready for our victory lane interviews, and let's start things off here with, let's see, we'll start with our runner-up finisher tonight, Mr. Braden Carroll. And I'll tell you what, Braden, congratulations on a really good show for you here tonight. This is a drive that potentially, when you start thinking long-term, it plays big when you start thinking about a championship.
Yes, it does. I was a little skeptical coming into tonight. Got amazing stage points. Got screwed on the first stage, but apologies were stated, so it's totally all right. I almost worked in my favor. Had an amazing clean race, and we all saw what happened at the end. But I came home in second place, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah, it seems like the night was kind of interesting for you. Talk us through a little bit of what happened there at the end of the stage, because it seemed like the car was going to be really good, and then all of a sudden it was just like things were kind of out of hand for you.
If you're talking about the first stage, me and about half the field, the caution came out like 35, which means we would have been able to go green before the lap 40 and the lap 40 mark. So half the field, even Johnny, he's texted me. He said, I'm going to pit now and then stay out. And I was like, yeah, I would have done that, but I was giving up too many points. And then as we're under the yellow, I just mic'd up and I was like, oh, are we going to have the caution like in the lap? And he goes, oh yeah, there's going to be no caution. I was just kind of like, what? Like what? Like what? We're not done with the stage yet. And then he apologized for it. So like, no harm, no foul. Mistakes, whatever, no biggie. But it was. I was nervous. I was like, wow, is this really it?
Well, and then we get to the second, the really long run that we had to almost close out the race. It seemed like your car was really, really good during that stretch of the race, maybe falling back a little bit towards the tail end of it, but you got to be happy with how the car, and quite frankly, how you're adjusting to the fixed setup. You run the Zeem Speed Shop logo, you run their stuff in the officials, but coming out here, it's a different ball of wax when you're having to fight a fixed setup a little bit.
Compared to the last Bristol race, this is just amazing. Really did a little bit more practice. Figured that knew the bottom line was going to be the line to run on the long run. Did that, and Johnny and Tyler just did it better than I did. Saved way more tires, and I was going to come home in third. I don't know what happened to Tyler, but we got second. That was a good race.
Yeah, it was a great run for you, and quite frankly, you got to be jacked up thinking about points here too. Congratulations on the podium finish tonight here, Braden. And before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yep, thank you to Zeem's Speed Shop, teamzess.com, and got a bunch of good stuff there, including the new Draft Masters series that we're running. Johnny actually is putting out the setups for those, believe it or not. Thanks to Money Shift Media and Cody Porter, taking great photos of me every week.
All right, brother. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us up here in the booth for a few minutes, and now it's time for us to talk to our race winner tonight, Mr. Johnny Avila. Man alive, the car looked good. It was quick, and it seemed like strategy kind of fell into your lap too a little bit. Congratulations, man. A fantastic drive. I guess it helps if we unmute Johnny. Hold on. Start it over. There you go. Now you can talk to us.
Honestly, I just thought you guys were just tired of hearing my voice, so you just kept me on mute.
A little bit, but we won't tell you that.
Oh, man. But, yeah, I did not really have the short run pace. I made an adjustment during that really, really long green flag run, and I changed my line a little bit, and I was luckily able to have enough speed to hold off Braden. But, yeah, the long runs were like my bread and butter at this racetrack. I don't know what it is. I just ride low and slow and keep on going.
Well, and you had to be a little bit floored to see Hunter have the issue that he did. Very uncharacteristic, but then it seats up a different shootout with Braden. So how did you mentally change from I have to fight Tyler to I have to fight Braden?
I don't think there was a shift. It was just whoever's in front of me is whoever's in front of me, or whoever I'm battling. I will say, though, on that restart, when Tyler beat me in pit road, I was trying to push B to intimidate, and it worked, so I'm glad that happened.
Yeah, I made the joke about not having to wreck him. You just wanted to rattle his cage a little bit. I didn't think that actually was a thing, though. You were able to intimidate a guy who's usually pretty the Iceman.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised because he usually runs his own pace, does his own thing, but I guess Tyler out in the lead was just pushing a little too hard. But yeah, I don't know much more to say.
Well, congratulations, brother. This is a good one for the points battle. What are your thoughts here as you now have to fight Braden? You've been fighting Kevin for how many seasons? Now it feels like you're going to be battling Braden. What may have looked like an easier run to the championship, you've now got a handful of guys here that are going to have a shot.
Yeah, I'll definitely say Braden's been improving like week after week. He's I would say in the beginning of the year, one of his weak points was tire management, but he's figured out how to keep the tires alive and still be fast. So I'll definitely have to keep my eye out for him. But at the same token, it almost feels like we're going tick for tack for each race. I'll win one, he'll win one. So we'll see if we keep the streak alive.
Yeah, we'll find that out 1 week from tonight when we head to, where we go next? Kansas, I think. Yeah, Kansas Speedway. next week for
Oh, if
117
we're going to
lapper.
Kansas, and Jeff is going to win that. That's my bet.
Well, we'll hold that one. We'll make the note of that one for next week. But Johnny, congratulations on the victory tonight here, brother. And before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Zeem Setup Shops. If you decide you want to do some open racing, you can check us out. We have all of the eNASCAR and even short track program. And all my teammates racing tonight, you know, it's fun to hang out with the guys and shoot the shit. Hunter, he had his misfortune, but he would still pop in and out of the Discord checking in on us. And the admins, you know, it's hard running a league. Every once in a while things happen, but for the most part, they do a great job. I'm really happy to be part of this league, all the effort that goes into it. But last but not least, you guys up in the booth. I love talking to you guys any chance I get.
Brother. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here. And yeah, I will say the same thing to the admins as well. Sometimes, like Johnny said, shit happens, but we'll take it. As always, fantastic racing out of the stars and cars of the Sim Racers Club here tonight. And it seems like I say this a lot. Not necessarily the race we expected with only a handful of cars on the lead lap at the end of this thing. But this was a really good race. When you start to think about it, it's a 250 lapper. That's not a short race at Bristol.
No, it's mentally draining, and we saw a lot of close contact, close quarters racing. No one was getting dumped. No one was getting intentionally wrecked like sometimes we do see here on the short tracks, just across the whole iRacing platform as a whole. We saw a lot of really, really great rattle his cage moments, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and well, quite frankly, I think we're going to have a pretty darn good race here coming up 1 week from tonight as well, as that will be the Sim Racers Club heading off to the Kansas Speedway. But first, we've got the Indy Pro 2000 Championship to get through tomorrow night at the Red Bull Ring in Salzburg, Austria. That one will air 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Then I will be heading off to Winchester, Indiana, for coverage of the Winchester 400 Super Late Model Race. You can check that one out on Racing America, a variety of other streaming platforms, and it will air, I believe, on 1 week tape delay over on MAV TV. Coming up next week, it will be the Silver Crowns at Michigan International Speedway to kick off the week. That will be 9:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, followed by the TNT Shock Series on Tuesday night, coming back after a 2-week break, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The All-Oval Series will take on the road course at Willow Springs because reasons. That works out. Sim Racers Club at Kansas, followed by the Indy Pro 2000s at Alton Park. A lot of great stuff coming up here, and we thank you all very much for coming to hang out with us and quite frankly, spend a part of your evening with us. Hopefully, if you're doing the watch back, you enjoy that one as well. If you do, the super thanks, the super chats, and all that kind of stuff is available, but we really appreciate you one way or the other when you come and hang out with us. With that, for Patrick Byrne and everybody here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.